Hey guys, it's your boy Blackrue here with another video. Before we get started, cue Indigo Saint.
Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer? Best believe it was Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting, so we binge on that Blackrue Investing. Best believe it was Blackrue Investing. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe it was Blackrue Investing.
My man Indigo. Alright guys, you can catch me on the Gentleman of Crypto YouTube. You can also catch me on the Benzinga YouTube. The times that you can catch me will be in the description below. Today we are going to talk Hedera and Cypherium. These guys are kings of the CBDC world, and we're going to get into that in depth. And this came out of a question from a user. Let's bring it up here. So this came out of a question from a watcher here, Kareem Thomas. Can you look into Cypherium? Yes, I can, and yes, I will today. Cypherium is all about CBDCs, but I just want to make you guys aware. Please, please, please watch the Quant versus Chainlink video. This is going to be a 2-video day for us today. So make sure you check out Quant versus Chainlink as well. But on to Cypherium and Hedera. So both of these guys are some CBDC giants. Cypherium seems like it just came out here November 2011. I'm sorry, excuse me, November of 2021. So only been around about a year, according to CoinMarketCap. But if you come over here and look at this meeting took place in August 2020. So it looks like they've been around for longer than CoinMarketCap has them listed, but whatever. Where they want to put their focus, guys, is CBDCs, and that's where they're at. So bridging CBDCs, DeFi, and Web3 through protocol interoperability. So this is something that came up for us again in the other video, so definitely go check that out. CBDC interoperability is something that Quant and Chainlink also want to do, so definitely go check that out. And what kind of came up for me is something that I think is going to be paramount for all of these cryptos. I think every crypto is going to kind of have their area of expertise, or their little area that they focus on doing the CBDC stuff in. For example, Shinhan Bank and Hedera Governing Council put together some CBDC demonstration in South Korea. All right, and it seems like they had IBM's help with that, because Hedera's a big dog. They're rolling with IBM, they're rolling with Google, they're rolling with Boeing, LG, T-Mobile, you name it. So they're helping out, and they demonstrated CBDCs in April 2021 in South Korea. All right. So flash forward, or flash a little backwards. Flash backwards to July 29th, 2020. Cypherium helped China do their CBDC thing in Suzhou City, one of their major cities here. So if we come over here and take a look here, April 2020, agencies and enterprises of the Zhangcheng, hope I said that right, Zhangcheng district of the Suzhou piloted the CBDC with payments of 50% of local workers' transport subsidies in the new digital currency. So seems like they got that going over there in April with 50% of the subsidies there. So these guys, Cypherium, are helping in China. Hedera is helping in South Korea. We're getting the central bank thing going. But what this enlightened me to is there's still a lot of questions going on. So let me just give you a kind of quick update of what's happening here. This is Cypherium CEO Sky Go, Go. Um, this is a member of ING Bank. ING Bank is a bank in the Netherlands, and they have a crypto division, which, according to this article, they recently spent off. They spent it off into its own separate company called Picter, which will continue to work with a Dutch bank. It kind of makes sense that they spent it off because they're almost just in two separate directions. That's one of the things that kind of came up here, which I'm going to play for you guys. But it's important just to understand who these members represent. This guy is Central Bank of England. This lady is Central Bank of Hungary. This gentleman is Central Bank of the Swiss. So one of the things that comes up is the tension between having control or having it be on a blockchain where it's decentralized. So the centralized and decentralized argument come up again. All right. I was gonna play this pretty fast for you guys, but they do kind of talk. That's fine. I'll play at 1.5 speed. So listen to what this gentleman here has to say and what the answer is that comes along.
Thank you.
Let me turn off the volume just to make sure you guys can hear it. All right, it's up. So here we go.
Thank you, Aniko. Simon, is there then a tension between scalability and decentralization? Is it the case that if you want more scalability, you have to accept a degree of lack of control or lack of centralization? Or can there be a harmony in, I suppose, growing together in a public-private partnership when it comes to developing new technology around CBD?
So he's talking about lack of control. And that's something that always ends up being a tug of war and a fight that we all fight as citizens because we think, okay, if a central bank digital currency happens, we lose a little bit of control because there's no cash out there. And this man is talking, okay, losing control because now instead of currencies being centralized like they are right now, we're now talking about putting it on a blockchain, which can make it decentralized, which means we have kind of less control. Now, when it comes to like doing a reconciliation, which is what they call it, which is what Swift does, it matches up the books. The blockchain would do the consensus, and it would just do it in a decentralized manner. And there's no one there kind of cooking the books. It's all done by the computer. So this is what he's talking about. He's saying you're losing control because it's no longer in the centralized bank's hands. The blockchain is now doing the consensus.
DCs.
I think that's probably the $1 million question is finding that kind of that harmony amongst a wide range of different kind of attributes that a CBDC may need to have, and finding the right balance between different trade-offs within that kind of wide spectrum of different choices. I think is one of the key questions that overhangs this. And I think, clearly that's one of the well discussed trade-offs in the blockchain world. The more decentralization you have, the more resilient something is, but perhaps the less scalable it is. I know there's been continuing kind of advancements in that front, so it may not be such a kind of fixed position, and it may be possible to achieve that.
And the gentleman down here is kind of laughing because he knows his stuff. And again, I said he's from ING Bank. He's from their crypto division, which we know now. In 2 years, they spin off. So they spent it off here July 11, 2022, not too long ago. But this is back in 2020. So this guy knows that it can be scalable, which is why he kind of laughed. It's like, it's blockchain. It's going to be scalable. It can transact so many more seconds and the speed's so much faster than your current reconciliation, there's no question about that. That's why he kind of giggled. And this guy is just a central bank of England guy, so he doesn't necessarily know crypto like that. But he's saying, okay, maybe it's not that scalable. When of course we know it is.
Scalability, but finding kind of this kind of roadmap of different attributes and different features you need, and understanding which technologies can help deliver the best mix of those, I think is the key question that we're grappling with. I think the scalability one is a particular challenge. Thinking about any technology for a retail central bank digital currency, it's quite hard to kind of to mimic in testing some of the requirements there to do some.
I think the question is not scalability. The question really is control. Okay, but just the fact that this Cypherium guy is in the room with these guys, I think that bodes well for this coin and what it can do. But let me continue to play.
Kind of large scale, kind of how would it perform in a real world scenario being used across the whole population of the country? Trying to understand the demands on that sort of technology is quite a difficult challenge to work through. And so I think learning by doing is key, but thinking about how we can best learn the answers to the right questions is important.
Thank you. Kate, as someone pioneering some of the technology in a private sector organisation,
so they end up going like into like some surveys that they surveyed the crowd, and the crowd is mostly central bank people, and they actually thought that it would be too slow using the blockchain, which is absolutely ludicrous because that's one of the major improvements of what the blockchain can have. And I believe this guy, I think he answered them. Let me see if I can get that.
Can we see that?
Okay, he's about to answer. Because they thought it was too slow. It was.
I think then if that changed at all, or whether everyone voted the same way, it's difficult to tell. I should remind the panelists that the people voting here tend to be central bank representatives. That's most of our audience on Zoom, the central bank representatives. If we go to the second question, the question that we used for the barriers to adoption for blockchain technology, let's look at the answers to that. Still very risk-averse people, the central banking community watching here. So slow transaction speed is fewer than I would have thought. We have about 100 people voting, I've heard, on this. The slow transaction speed is I thought that would be a higher percentage. And then in terms of the rationale, the reasons for issuing CBDC.
So these guys have, and he's smiling again because he knows slow transaction speed is that's so not even a question anymore. That's why this guy's like smiling, like what? These guys clearly don't know what the hell they're talking about. But he's going to address that. And just to let you guys know, earlier, Sky Go, he did address that too. He said, look, blockchain, you put it on the blockchain, like we got high speeds now. Like low speeds, that's something like, dude, that's like 5 years ago. Like we got fast speeds now.
Contracts plays an important role there as well, and that's one of the things that we haven't spoken that much about. Thank you very much. Fascinating poll results there. So as we draw to a conclusion, I'll go in reverse order and ask you to finish with your thoughts. We'll go back to you then, Case. What do you think? How do you think central banks will be using blockchain technology in 5 years' time?
I think the role of central bank will be just issuing the CBDC and controlling the amount of it, so issuing and redeeming. I think for the rest, the whole infrastructure will be decentralized, so banks running their own nodes, also KYC, AML, all those tasks will remain at the banks. So I see the role for the central banks very limited. May I also respond to the survey, or is that due to time?
Yes, please do, yeah.
So, just very quickly about this concern that is shared among the participants about the scalability. I can only reiterate what Sky already said, that modern technology, consensus algorithms like PBFT can easily process up to thousands of transactions per second. So I'd love to discuss that in more detail, but due to time, we can't go into the tech details there, but I disagree with that concern.
Thank you very much.
So he says it, and he gives Sky credit, which is awesome. I love people that do that. He gave him credit, saying that blockchain speed is not a concern. Scalability is not a concern. And I think that for them, for these central bank guys, I think real concern for them is control. And he thinks that, it should be in a decentralized manner, but I think that these central banks are really going to have a problem with it being in a decentralized manner like that because it gives them less control. So, circling back to Cypherium, I think they really have a bright future. They just hired another. They just hired a business development team, and you guys might not understand that, but if you're a minority, you kind of understand. Like sometimes, really, you want to have, and I really hate to say it, you sometimes want to have people that relate to the right people in the room. So he hired a couple guys from London, a couple guys from Belgium, that can relate to the Euros that he's talking to. And he also hired a guy from Africa, and he hired a lady from Canada. So, it seems like he wanted to have people in the room that can relate to other people that he's talking to. He can relate to the people in Asia, and they can relate to the people, the Euros and the Canadians. And, he got a guy from Africa, and he can relate to the Africans, and, Americans, we don't really care too much. Some of us do. Some of us do. So actually, that's why I said, like, unless you're a minority, you might not really understand that. But yeah. So he hired a new business team. They already set inroads here in China for a CBDC. So it's really, really, really cool. And I think this thing might actually have a pretty good future, and I'm gonna be watching it. Now, however, do I think its future is brighter than Hedera, who has the World Economic Forum behind it, who's governed by, um, who's governed by, like I said before, Google, Boeing, LG, IBM, and IBM's another one that comes up because they're also partners with Cypherium. Google's also a partner with Cypherium. Um, so it's pretty cool. It seems like they're speaking to the right people already because they have Google and IBM as a partner. So yeah, I think Cypherium, it'll definitely be on my watch list. But is it better than the Hedera? I would say no. Now, one thing also we would want to watch with this guy is that it has an 8 billion max supply, over an 8 billion max supply. So that's going to be something that's going to make it a little bit harder to move. But it's only listed on 3 exchanges now, which I think actually bodes in its favor because those are upcoming catalysts. If it gets listed on a KuCoin or on a Kraken or on a Coinbase, that means it's going to shoot up in the air, right? So, if you can get on MEXC, I know you can use that in America, and grab a little bit, might not be such a bad idea. Seems like these guys have a few connections. It seems like they know what they're doing. So, yeah, guys, definitely be sure to check out my other video for today, Quant versus Chainlink. Check out some of my past videos right here. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Have a good one. Peace.